In a world that's constantly demanding our attention, our opinions, and our voices, there's an underrated power in silence. We're taught to speak up, to assert ourselves, to make our voices heard. But sometimes the most profound strength lies not in speaking, but in staying silent. In this video, we'll explore the Stoic wisdom behind the art of silence, why it's crucial for inner peace, how it can lead to better decisions, and how embracing silence can be one of the most powerful tools for living a life of virtue. Let's begin by understanding why silence is so valued in Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed that silence is not just the absence of noise, but a practice of restraint, reflection, and self-control. When we speak, we often do so impulsively, driven by emotion, ego, or the need to fill the void. But true wisdom, according to the Stoics, comes from knowing when to hold back, when to listen, and when to let silence speak for itself. Think about the words of Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, who said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen more than we say." In a world filled with noise, chatter, and constant communication, how often do we actually stop to listen? How often do we allow ourselves the space to reflect before we respond? Silence is not simply the absence of speech, it's the presence of thought. It's in these moments of quiet that we can truly hear ourselves think, where we can separate the signal from the noise, and where we can connect with a deeper sense of understanding. Silence, then, is not just about what we don't say, it's about creating the mental space for reflection and insight. Silence is a form of restraint, a way to master our impulses. In moments of anger, frustration, or fear, our first instinct is often to react, to speak out, to defend ourselves. But the Stoics teach us that true strength lies in the ability to pause, to observe our emotions without immediately acting on them. It's in that pause that we find clarity, wisdom, and the ability to make decisions that align with our values. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, often wrote about the importance of controlling one's tongue. He said, "It is better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt." When we speak in haste, we risk saying things we don't mean, making promises we can't keep, or hurting others with our words. Silence, on the other hand, gives us the time to think, to understand, and to respond with intention. But this isn't just about avoiding mistakes. It's about cultivating a deeper level of self-awareness. When we practice restraint, we learn to recognize the triggers that prompt us to speak without thinking. We become more in tune with our emotions and better equipped to manage them. This is the essence of Stoic self-control, not suppressing our feelings, but understanding them and choosing how to act on them. Imagine a situation where someone criticizes you unfairly. The natural response might be to defend yourself, to argue, to prove them wrong. But what if instead you chose silence, not out of weakness, but out of strength? By staying silent, you demonstrate that you are not controlled by others' opinions. You are choosing to rise above the immediate need to react, showing a calm and composed demeanor. This is the power of restraint, a power that is often misunderstood but deeply respected by those who recognize it. Silence isn't just about what we don't say to others. It's also about the conversations we have with ourselves. In silence, we find the space to reflect, to meditate, and to connect with our inner wisdom. The Stoics believed that self-reflection is essential for personal growth, and that silence is the fertile ground where this reflection takes root. Consider this. When was the last time you sat in silence without distractions and truly listened to your own thoughts? In our modern world, we're constantly bombarded with information, opinions, and external noise. But the Stoics remind us that it's in moments of solitude and silence that we gain the most profound insights about ourselves, our values, and our purpose. Seneca, another great Stoic thinker, wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." This learning often happens in silence, in the quiet moments where we can contemplate our actions, our choices, and the path we're on. Silence allows us to step back, to see the bigger picture, and to make adjustments that bring us closer to living a virtuous life. But there's more to this than just self-reflection. Silence also offers us a unique opportunity to connect with the world around us in a deeper way. When we quiet our minds, we become more attuned to the subtleties of life, to the beauty of nature, to the emotions of those around us, and to the intricate details that we often overlook in the hustle and bustle of everyday life. In silence, we find a connection to something greater than ourselves, a connection that is easily lost in the noise of modern life. Silence also plays a critical role in decision-making. The Stoics believed that the best decisions are made not in haste, but in calm deliberation. When we're faced with a difficult choice, the pressure to act quickly can lead us to make rash decisions that are not aligned with our true values or long-term goals. But when we embrace silence, we give ourselves the time to think, to weigh our options, and to choose a path that truly reflects who we are. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, taught that we should never act out of impulse or emotion. Instead, we should take a step back, consider the consequences of our actions, and make a decision that is guided by reason and virtue. Silence is the space in which this process takes place. It allows us to detach from the immediate pressures of the moment and to see our situation with greater clarity. Imagine standing at a crossroads in your life, perhaps in your career, your relationships, or your personal goals. The world might be pushing you to decide quickly, to take action, to do something. But the Stoics would advise you to first find silence, to sit with your decision, to reflect on it, and to let the right course of action reveal itself to you naturally. In silence, you find the patience to make decisions that are not only wise but also aligned with your deepest values. Now that we understand the power of silence, how do we apply it in our daily lives? How can we cultivate silence in a world that's constantly urging us to speak, to share, and to engage? Step 1. Practice intentional pauses. Before responding to a question, a criticism, or even a compliment, take a moment to pause. Breathe. This pause doesn't have to be long, just a few seconds to gather your thoughts and consider your response. This simple practice can help you avoid knee-jerk reactions and communicate with greater clarity and purpose. Step 2. Embrace solitude. Find time each day to sit in silence, away from distractions. This could be through meditation, journaling, or simply sitting quietly with your thoughts. Use this time to reflect on your day, your decisions, and your goals. The more you practice being comfortable with silence, the more you'll find it becoming a natural part of your life. Step 3. Listen more than you speak. In conversations, make a conscious effort to listen fully before responding. Pay attention to what's being said, and even what's not being said. Listening deeply not only helps you understand others better, but also allows you to respond in a way that is thoughtful and aligned with your values. Step 4. Cultivate an internal dialogue. Silence isn't just about what you don't say to others. It's also about the conversations you have with yourself. Use moments of silence to check in with yourself, to ask questions like, what do I really want? What are my true motivations? Am I living in alignment with my values? This internal dialogue, conducted in silence, can guide you towards a more intentional and fulfilling life. Step 5. Respect the silence of others. Just as you value your own moments of quiet, recognize and respect the silence of those around you. Not every moment requires conversation or commentary. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is the space to be silent, to reflect, and to be themselves. By embracing silence, we create space for wisdom, for reflection, and for intentional action. In a world that often values noise and constant communication, Silence is a radical act of self-control and self-respect. It's a choice to listen rather than speak, to reflect rather than react, and to connect with our inner selves rather than be swept away by the external world. So, the next time you feel the urge to speak out, to react, or to fill the silence, pause. Remember the power of silence. Remember that in silence we find clarity, strength, and the wisdom to live a life of purpose. Silence is not just the absence of words, it's the presence of thought, the cultivation of patience, and the practice of virtue. As we close, let's reflect on this. Silence is a choice. It's a choice to be mindful, to be present, and to live with intention. In choosing silence, we choose to listen to ourselves, to others, and to the world around us. We choose to act not out of impulse, but out of wisdom. And in that choice lies true freedom, the freedom to live a life that is not dictated by external noise, but guided by inner peace. Thank you for watching. If this video resonated with you, please like, comment, and subscribe for more content on living a life rooted in Stoic principles. And if you have any thoughts or questions, I'd love to hear them. Just drop a comment below. Until next time, stay strong, stay silent, and live with intention.